Welcome, everybody. Thank you, Tata, for introducing and your support making this happen. Also, thanks to Cecilia for the space. She's not here, but what to do. And thanks to all of you for coming and using your precious Sunday time to listen to this bearded freak in front of you. We will talk about relationships and sexuality from the point of view of human design. So there will be a lot of things that might sound unconventional, freakish, weird, amoral. Don't judge me right away. It's not my opinion. I'm just trying to transmit the knowledge of human design. And if there is something that is shocking you, try to sit with it. Write your big question down and we can answer this in the end. If it's something, I didn't hear this, you can for sure right away ask. Relationships and sexuality is such a big topic. I will try to give you the best overview and condensed information about this today in the next 4 hours. For sure, you could study this for years and go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. But I guess that at the end of this, you will be able to look at any chart and have some basic idea of like, okay, this person will be acting like this in a relationship, or that person needs that in a relationship. This is the main focus, I would say, to just give some understanding that we can accept the other better by understanding what there is actually. What is the need? What is the way of interaction, and so on. First of all, as always, please don't believe me anything I say. This is not a belief system. You validate it for yourself through experimenting with it. You go through your life, you will look at it, you observe it, you will try and error, you will talk about it, whatever is your way. And every now and then you will have some insight, some realization about it and understand it or not, There's not a promise in all of this. And we begin with an introduction because when it's about relationships, we need to go back. Any relationship, and today we will talk about intimate, romantic, sexual relationships. We will not talk about the relationship between a mother and a child. And we will not talk about a relationship between your boss and you, because those are two relationships. Today we will talk about the deep relationships that hurt the most usually, but also are the most beautiful. And it all begins with conditioning. So you need to understand what is your social background. Where are you coming from? Who are your parents? What is your village, your town, your city, your country? What is the topics, the themes that you got imposed with? For sure, a man from Germany is socially conditioned differently than a man from Portugal. It's just very different. Or a woman from Asia, China, Japan, is very different than a woman socially conditioned in America. And we need to take this into account. It is very important to see that. Because yes, you can look at a chart and you can see the potentials and the life purpose and whatnot, but it doesn't mean anything if you don't know where this person is coming from. Because you need to penetrate through this social conditioning, not just the energetic conditioning by the parents. This is a whole different story. But first, the social psychological conditioning. A man has to be like this, a woman has to be like that. That's not true if you look at it. This is just a conditioning that we believe and act on because it is socially accepted that a man does the first step and a woman needs to do, take care of the kids. But this is just, there is always some truth in those things, regards the social background wherever you grew up, for sure, If you, I don't know, have been born in Africa and there is those tribal rules and some social conditioning, it maybe is helpful and has a meaning. But if you want to live your own mythology, if you want to be yourself, those social conditionings will only hold you back. They will not liberate you. They will put you in a caste, in a box. They will impose even more limitation on you because you are limited as a human being. If you sit here right now in front of me and you think, no, I'm not limited, I'm sorry, but you are. You are. Everybody is limited. And that's nothing bad. That's totally fine. You know, I'm limited by how I think. I'm limited by what I can feel. I'm limited how much my empathy is there or not. I'm limited by my ways of desire, passion, need. I'm limited by my hair color, my body shape. Everything is a limitation regards life and my experience in life. So there is all of these spiritual people saying, no limitation, let's awake and thrive and be everything. But why? Why you want to be everything? If you are everything, you don't have any experience anymore. It's boring. It's just nice and creative if there is a limitation. So yeah, we have the social conditioning and then the parents. You grew up with a father who was a really authoritarian person who beat the shit out of you if you did something wrong. You think you will not carry this within you as a conditioning? You think you will not treat your partner like this because this is how you've shown love? For sure you will. And there is lots of studies, and this has nothing to do with human design. This is just basic psychology. If your father beat the shit out of you, you will be very much have a tendency to beat the shit out of your partner or your kid or your friend, because this is the way how you received love, closeness, intimacy. For sure there's exceptions, and for sure we can break through those patterns and all of that. But we need to have a basic assumption. So when you look at a chart, yeah, this is your potential. When I go through this, you say, oh, no, I don't identify with this. Yeah, for sure not. Because there is so much conditioning. It needs time until you really go to that point where you will be yourself, where you will see those things pop up and be alive. The next conditioning, a very funny one. Everybody thinks a relationship is necessary. Everybody needs a relationship. That's not true. Not everybody is made for a relationship. Why should everybody have a relationship, build a house, have kids, and have a job? Why? For what reason? It makes no sense. That's just homogenization. Some people need a relationship. Some people may have a relationship, and some people hate relationships, and that's fine. And just because somebody hates relationship doesn't mean they're wrong or off or have a problem. They're just not made for a relationship. Ever thought about that? But yeah, in our conditioning, it's like, you know, you go to your, I don't know, Christmas dinner to your parents. You still don't have a girlfriend or a boyfriend? And you get this look, you know. So what, you know? It's how it is. So also to see this, there is a genetic preposition of, are you actually a relationship person or not? And you know, no wonder that we have relationships out there that are horrible, where you look at it like, how can they be together? Where everybody is like, what is going on with them? Yeah, they try to force it, you know, they think they need it, whatever the case may be. Maybe they work on trauma together because the other is representing the father and the mother or whatever. Because you will, and I said this before we started the recording, usually we have sex with our parents because we like the conditioning of the parents and seek this in another person. Wow, that's something, eh? You know, I don't know, your father or your mother, it depends if you're male or female. It has many different possibilities, but in the very general sense, if you are a man, your mother represents the archetype of woman that you will seek for. And if you are a woman, your father will represent the archetype of man you will seek for. So, and why? Because your father or your mother gave you the feeling of being loved, being safe, being protected, feeling comfortable, feeling cozy, all of that. So for sure you will look for that. And not just in intimate relationships. You will look for that in anything. You will take the job with this person because it represents an archetypical energy you know. You will go on you play soccer or tennis with somebody because they are your friend, because they represent these energies that you already are used to. And you can see this in childs, even in childs already, that they will pick friends who represent the same energy like the parents. And to some degree, even the siblings. Or grandma, if you spend the most time with your grandma, or grandfather, or whatever the case may be. Where you have spent the most time with in the first 7 years. Because the first 7 years, this is the period where you be conditioned. So actually, every one of us is just 7 years old. We never get older. We just learn to be better with what we already have as conditioning. We just get smarter with all these strategies that our mind made up in the first 7 years. But to go beyond that 7 years, wow, that takes a lot of effort. And you cannot do this with your mind because your mind is holding you back. Mind is nothing. And then another one is, what is a good relationship? Oh, there's so many answers. One very general conditioned answer is, a good relationship lasts long. Have you heard that already? Oh yeah, my relationship is very good. Oh, you know, Jones' relationship is so good because he's married for 10 years. It doesn't mean shit if you're married for 10 years. You can have a relationship that lasts 1 month and it's much better than 10 years of marriage. Usually it is. But that's a different story. I was never married, but I can imagine how that can turn out if you have even a contract. It's a contract that says we need to love until the day we die. And then you maybe have an open ego, heart center, you know, no promises, no willpower. Oof. Wow, this can really destroy your whole genetic system, your energy system, your whole life. Just because of love. And then let me tell you something, it has nothing to do with love. It's not love. It's not love. It's conditioning, it's attraction, it's seeking for something. It's coping. It's not love. So, a good relationship cannot be defined generally. Because what a good relationship is for you is unique. Maybe a good relationship for you is a relationship where you have somebody that you can spend time with, but you have no sex. Maybe a good relationship for you is where you only have sex, but no depth or going deeper. Maybe superficial, yeah. You know, please don't judge yourself by some imposed, conditioned beliefs of what a relationship is or isn't. Because it's not you, it's not your life. Nobody has any right to tell you what you should live or experience. And that brings us to the next thing. We always want what we don't have. Because you have an open solar plexus center on the right side in the chart, because it's open, and maybe your mother who took a lot of care of you, and you were a man, and your mother was very emotional, you want that emotionality in a partner. Or maybe your father had a defined chi center with the channel 1-8 and was always very, very creative and expressionistic with his identity. Maybe you want a partner that has that. And then, not only that, it is also that our genes want to reproduce. And you cannot get rid of this. It doesn't matter if you're mochi or I don't know who you are. You will want to fuck. Your genes. I'm not talking about your persona. Your genes want to reproduce. This is a mechanism of every life. It doesn't matter if it's a deer or a human. Every living organism needs to reproduce. Otherwise, you would die out as a species, right? So there is a genetic imperative. This is how we call it in human design, genetic imperative. It's a drive to reproduce. And how this drive works is your genes are looking for something that you are not. That you are not. Because it needs to be that. Otherwise, there would not be a genetic variety. There wouldn't be so many different genetic experimental outcomes that obviously life wants. You know, you need to have different genes in a gene pool to survive as a species, and then the best genetic traits will be passed on. So, all of us are driven to want what we don't have. So, in my chart, I only have ajna and head defined. So I'm looking for somebody with that defined head. Throat, chi center, sacral, root center, spleen, ego, and solar plex. And you know what? I once had a partner like this. It was totally the opposite. She was like all defined where I wasn't defined. And in the beginning, it was like, oh, wow. You know, it felt like, I don't know. And after 3 days, I was like, shit, I need to get out of this. Otherwise, I will really have a very bad time. I need to get out of this. It's not working for me. I tried. It is too intense. It's like fire playing with water, you know. It's really tricky. I mean, I don't say that it will not work. I'm not saying that anything is bad of that. I'm just saying you need to know what it is. Because any relationship, any partnership needs awareness. If you don't have awareness, I don't even know what you're doing. Because you get lost in this. You get lost and live something out and have fights about that is actually just an illusion. You will just play a role. You will be a character. You will be an NPC, like the young people say nowadays. You know, non-playable character, like there's not a soul inside. It's just, you will become a homogenized something, but not living a relationship that you deserve. That you deserve. So, please keep that in mind. We always want what we don't have. And for sure, we are all caught up in the not-self. Everyone. I mean, I people sat in front of me and said, no, I meditate since 10 years, I'm not in a not-self. I was like, okay, yeah, so why are you trying to prove with your open ego right now? And then they were quiet, you know, please, not-self is not bad. It's just not something we can make decisions based on. The not-self is just a different version of our existence that is afraid and tries to bring up strategies to survive. It is caught up in the survival game, and we are not here to survive. Survival is guaranteed nowadays. I mean, I lived without money for 2 years, and it was really hard to not have money. Everybody wanted to give me something. It's almost like if you let go, life is giving you so much abundance. So I came to conclusion, if you want to be somebody, I don't know, what is this called, this people who are on the street and beg for money, beggars, you really need to want that. You really need to want that. In our Western civilization, I'm not talking about third, fourth countries, you know, like, I don't know. I'm talking about our Western civilization, Europe, America, I don't know. It's hard to be homeless and have nothing because there's so much support. You just go to an office, hey, I'm homeless, I don't know, I don't have money, okay, here. I mean, yeah, I'm generalizing, but still, we are here to experience life. We don't need to waste any thought about survival. Maybe sometimes, once a year in Portugal, if you're living in an area where there's a lot of fires, maybe you need to think about survival. But even in that moment, your body will just help you. So the not-self is always competing with the world. And that means if you are in a relationship In the not self, your partner is your enemy. Your partner is the enemy. It's not your friend. Whenever you go enter a relationship incorrectly, your partner will be your nemesis. And you will do anything with your not self, with your mind, to change that partner, to gain control, to be in charge, to make your partner your dog and put him on a leash. And usually women win because they have more empathy when it's about that and know what buttons to press. I'm not saying that women are bad, but they just have more intellect about that. They just gain more intellect in those interactions through the years. I don't know of why, but it has its reasons, I guess. And for sure, men can do the same. There's a lot of men who play the dominant asshole and treat women like shit. And I wonder, why are you in this relationship? I don't know. Sometimes he's nice. Okay, you know. Good. Okay. I mean, it's your decision. I will not judge it. Do what you do. But you know, we all know this not self thing of, how can I change him? How can I change her? And then we come like, you know, I would love if you could do this. I would love if you could be that. Can you please change this? You need to change. And the other says, yeah, but you need to change too. And then both change into something they are not, and then they think it will be better. And maybe it will, but they will never fulfill their purpose. They will live a life that is not theirs. And I had this experience. I guess all of us experienced this already. That we change for somebody, and then they usually break up with us because we're not the one who they fell in love with at the first place. You know? It's a funny game, isn't it? It's a power game. That's why I say this has nothing to do with love. Power games have nothing to do with love. Love is still clear. It's silent. It's not emotional. Love has nothing to do with emotions. It's a feeling. It's a sensation. And love accepts the other, how the other is. It doesn't want to change the other. Yeah, it doesn't mean that there is not some stuff that annoys you, but you don't try to change it. You maybe talk about it. You maybe share that this is hurting you. You maybe share that this is a hard time for you to deal with this. And then you give the other the possibility to maybe adapt, to maybe do something with this or not. But yet we are not here to change the other. It's actually an act of violence. It's an act of violence, you know. It's going to the pond, your partner is a fish, and say, you are a fish, I don't like fish, I love you, and because you love me, you need to learn to fly. So I have some feathers and I will stick them in your skin. Why? For what reason would you do that? If you don't love the fish as how the fish is, get a new partner. Come on. And then, that's not even all. Then the environment comes and the transit that influence everything. So you meet a person at this wonderful bar and you have such a spark, fireworks, and it's amazing. And you're not emotional and you can act in the now and you kiss him or her. You have a drink. You have some nice time in the hotel room above the bar. On the next day, you go out, you go your way, you write some messages, and you meet at another place, and the magic is gone. And then you figure out, because the place plays a role, and maybe the bartender had some aspects that made you bond. Yes. And then it doesn't work. But what we do with our minds is we try to make it work. We put effort in it. Okay, it's because, I know, because it's maybe because I ate this last day, that's why I feel bad. Or maybe because you're worried because you got this call from your work. We can come up with so many reasons why something doesn't work. When it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Just let it go. It's okay. Maybe you figure out that it has to do with the bar and you just go to the bar and have sex there. Maybe this is your relationship. I don't know. Or what about both people together would have a split, you know? If you put two charts together, you get a third one. And in this chart, maybe there's a split, that there's an area and there's an area. If you have a split in a relationship, you will never feel whole in this relationship. There will always be something outside of the relationship that is not integrated. And you will kind of compete about what is the main focus. Especially when it's a relationship where together all the centers are defined. We will look at this in the third part, don't worry. But imagine the split is bridged by Pluto for a few months. And you have an amazing relationship with this person because it feels whole. You have the stickiness. It's all very close and it's correct for you. And then Pluto transits further and the relationship doesn't work anymore. But because you spend 12 months, 30 months, I don't know how long Pluto was in this aspect, because it can go retrograde and stay in something for I don't know how many years. And then you think you need couple therapy. He needs to change a bit. It's because he drinks too much beer. It's because she spends too much time with this friend or that friend. No, it's just because the energies are different. Or you have a relationship where you always visit the other at their place. And there it works amazingly. Because the environment of the place where he or she lives, where you visit, gives some kind of bridging or aspects that make the relationship work. But you think, but I want my partner to visit me too. I want to, show my world and show my friends and show my network and my places where I go. And it doesn't work at all. Everything goes wrong. So yeah, environment plays a role too. I experienced this. It was crazy. I was like, how can this be? When I visited her place, everything was fine. When she visited my place, everything was totally chaos. Every time. And before human design, I thought, I don't know. I don't remember what I thought in that moment, but I tried to come up with a solution. And it's so simple. It's so simple, actually. And obviously, what we usually love in the other is only the thing that we want to see, not what is really there. And then because there's energies that come in, we take in, we always see the other as an amplification. And then there comes the lines. If you are a fifth line or a second line, there's even more stuff that is not really true in there. And then you are a projector or a reflector and you will mirror a lot of stuff. And then the other hates things about you that they actually hate about themselves. So if you don't know who your partner is, how can you respect your partner? If you don't know that your partner needs questions because it's a generator, how can you ever have a working relationship? I would say 90% of relationships are dysfunctional, like families too. And we try to cope with it. It's normal. It's the same like generators say, it's normal to be frustrated. You need to do the job. No, you don't. Frustration is nothing that is part of life. It's a signpost to stop. It's a signpost that says, finish. It's the same if you would say, it's normal to have fever every now and then you just keep on going. It has no meaning. If you've experienced frustration as a generator, stop. If you've experienced bitterness as a projector, stop. If you experience anger as a manifestor, stop or move. If you have disappointment as a reflector, your partner is not correct for you. So you need to know the basic mechanism. I don't know, you don't need to study all of this. You don't need to be an analyst to get a grips with that. The basic things, what type is the other, what centers are open, and for sure, not only in the other, because you will put your shit in the other too. you know? We love to play the blame game, right? Oh, yeah, it's because she's emotional. That's why I'm always so upset. Yeah, but you put something in it too that makes her maybe emotional, you know? So it is a very, very delicate thing. Relationships are very delicate. But we act in relationship like fucking 3-year-old tyrants. I don't know. We kick it with feet. We quit every relationship right away just because we get a bit mad, instead of sitting down, talking, understanding, seeing it. To maybe find the love in all of that. That maybe it's not sexual, maybe it's not intimacy, maybe it's not work, maybe it's just a friend. I don't know. But I guess there is if you are a transpersonal profile, 5'1", 5'2", 6'2", 6'3" profile, the other has a meaning for you. You cannot just cut them out of your life. It's not possible. They will haunt you in a way of that they will always pop up again. Yeah, if you are 1-3 or 2-4, yes, you can just break the bond. But still, everybody brings something towards your life, you know. It's we need to think about relationships a bit more, I think, differently. Obviously, you need to know yourself, you need to know the other, and you need to know how the other makes decisions. You know, I hate it if people ask me closed questions. I don't like it. I don't like it. And I know all the people who ask me closed questions, at one moment I will just break the bond. Because it's not respecting me. If you are a manifester and people come towards you and ask you close questions, leave them. Really, they don't respect you. If you are a generator and people always give you orders, they erase their contact out of your phone. They will never treat you with respect. What you doing with these people? Why you spend time with them if they don't even, respect the basic thing? And then it's the authority also, the inner authority. There's people, okay, can you tell me until tomorrow, Talis, if it's there and this? And like, no. Sometimes I need a year to know if I have a yes or a no. I need to talk about it. All these generators, who are trying to be emotional, who are not emotional, open solar plex. And I asked them, would you like to go there? I need to feel through. You don't need to feel through any. You're not emotional. You know it in the now. And if you don't know it in the now, you fool yourself. Oh, what about a splenic projector? Authority, okay? Always just in the now. But can be very indecisive in the sense of, now it's over. You invite the splenic projector. Let's go to have sushi. And the splenic projector says, oh yeah, that feels good. And you're on the way, and in front of the sushi restaurant, I don't want it anymore. What to do? It's unpredictable. You need to respect that. And the same with the generator, I can, if I have a generator partner, say, do you love me? And the generator goes, okay, yeah, what to do? Not now. Not now. Doesn't mean it cannot change. But in this moment, if I would take it personally, I have a problem. Because it's not personal. It's never personal. And I'm not saying that I figured this out. I do my mistakes, But I got much better with this because I know the themes. I know the basics. I know, okay, this is not personal. I take my 5 minutes. Okay, hey, I know it's not personal. And why? I don't need... I don't need anybody to love me because I love myself. That's enough. This is also the big dilemma we have. We think the other needs to love us, that we are loved. No. If you cannot love yourself, you will never be loved. If you cannot love yourself, you will never find love. If you cannot love yourself, nobody else will and can love you. And love yourself is always so mystical. What does it mean, love yourself? It's very simple. You behave how your genetic definition aspects want to be lived out. It means you have your genetic behavior. I don't know, you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is you smoke a cigarette. That's your genetic behavior. I don't know, it's just an example. And you live this no matter what. Super radical. If you love yourself, you are a radicalist. You're an extremist for the society. Because that means you will never listen to anybody with a white coat who tells you, you should brush your teeth like this. You will not give a fuck about this. You will do it your way, only your way, because your inner authority is everything. Nobody in the outside has any possibility to tell you what to do, when to do, what to do, how to do, because you have something inside of you that you can trust. So you don't need anybody else anymore. You don't need outer authorities anymore to make a decision. I'm talking about making decisions, for sure. If you have a problem, you can go to somebody and ask. If you want to study something, you can sit in a classroom like this and study, for sure. But you don't need it to make a decision. You don't need anybody in your life to make a decision. That's the beauty. And then the next topic is, if a relationship is not starting correctly, there's not a real relationship. What does it mean? If a manifestor is waiting for love and a generator initiates the manifestor to have love, this relationship is not correct. If an emotional person jumps on the higher of their wave into a relationship, it's not correct. If a projector is not invited into the relationship but initiated it, it's not correct. Correctness means it is correct regards your own genetic definition, your imprints, you can use your chart to see what is correct for you. And sometimes it's shocking, sometimes it's shocking. But deep inside of us, we know. One example, I have a completely open sacral. I'm not here to have consistent sexuality. And I often thought in my life I have a problem because it's sometimes not there, and I love the other and I mentally want to have sex. But my body says, no, I don't care. So with this, I know, it's because it's not consistently there. It's not always correct for me. It's sometimes correct and sometimes not. This is the thing. Or with the emotions, the same. If you have an open solar plex, you will not always feel lust and pleasure for something sexual. Sometimes yes, sometimes not. It depends, but it's not consistent. And that's why we love emotional people when it's about the bedroom. Because they bring this pleasure and the lust and the colorfulness and the sweetness, but also the pain.
It is defined emotions then.
Yes, they are the sweetness of life. When it's about lust and pleasure and sexuality, open solar plex people, they can have this too for sure, but it's not the same intensity. If you have an open solar plex and you had sex with an open solar plex person and you would compare it to sex with a defined solar plex person, it's very different. I'm not saying it's better, but it's very different. It's very different. It's much more intense. There's much more emotional roller coaster stuff going on. If the individuality in a relationship is not maintained, both suffer. What do I mean with this? It could be that your individuality is that you are a generator with gate 5 and gate 15, You're somebody who has routines in the now that needs to be generated. I don't know. Your routine is to wake up and do some yoga. And then you drink a tea with ginger, and then you do the housework. You clean a bit, and then you go to Gaia and read a book. I don't know. This could be your routine. If the other in the relationship is not respecting, accepting, and maybe even supporting that, depending on your circuitry, you will for sure not maintain your individuality. And that happens a lot. We enter relationships and we change everything about our life. And I ask myself, why? You know, for example, there's somebody, when he is not in a relationship, what he does is he sleeps until 10, then he eats cereals, then he plays his favorite video game, then he does coding and programs something for 4 hours, then he goes to a restaurant and eats outside because he hates to cook, and then he goes home, watches Netflix, goes to bed. This would be a typical day of this person. But now, because he has a girlfriend, he is waking up at 8, making her breakfast, doesn't play video games because it's not mature, doesn't code anymore, or codes more to have more money, to show her, I'm a man who have money and can provide for you. And the whole individuality, the whole purposeness of his life is gone. It's gone. And I don't say that it's just with him. It's the same with her. You know, imagine a woman who is pregnant and then gives birth to a child. Her whole life is gone. Everything is gone. Wow. I mean, the sacrifice men bring, yeah, for sure. It's a sacrifice to go to work and provide and all of this. But, you know, women bring sacrifices too, maybe even deeper. Because if you have to take care of a child, that is really, I mean, your individuality is completely gone. You maybe have some support that keeps things alive, but, you know, if you were a woman that was really like business oriented and working 10 hours and you loved it and you were top notch and stuff, and then you have this little one that needs your attention full every time, 24/7, you cannot maintain that. You cannot, no. I mean, you can with some nannies if you have enough money, but still, you will not benefit from that, because then how will you ever establish a bond with your kid? You know? So all this relationship stuff is a trickery of the program. And when I say program, I mean there is forces in our universe, in our reality, that control us to some degree. You know, they control that we need to reproduce. They control when we need to reproduce. It's almost like with mammals. Yes, we humans, I mean, we can have sex all the time. But there is moments in a cycle where it's more. And we know that. Because we see when kids get born more, that means 9 months before was a peak of sexuality, horniness, you know. You know, I don't know, deers have it twice a year, sometimes only once a year for some months, a couple of months from October to December usually. We humans start to have mating season from the moment of Valentine's Day. Isn't that funny? Valentine's Day is the opening of mating season. And mating season has to do with emotionalness. We mate because there is emotional drives in us that want to either experience new sexual fantasies, that want to have a family, a tribe that provides the needs, or because we want to experience romance. Romance. I want Hollywood a bit, you know, it's nice. But it's all drive, it's all driven, it's a pressure, it's existential pressure that drives us. And yes, if you're super aware, you maybe not fall for it, but the most fall. And it's not bad. It can be wonderful, it can be beautiful, it can be amazing. But it's always better to know what's going on, right? It's good to be a passenger and to observe and understand what is going on. If you don't know how to interact correctly, both suffer, obviously. I gave examples, you know, asking questions to a manifestor. If you know that the other needs time to decide, you need to give the other time. If you are a projector and you're together with a generator, you wait until you are asked or invited or recognized. You don't open the day by, good morning. No. You wait and shut up. The one with the defined throat will start the conversation. The one who is in the tip-type hierarchy, and this is, It's just an energetic hierarchy that saves you from suffering and frustration or bitterness. If I would sit at the morning table with my love, and my love would be a manifestor or a generator, I wait until she would begin the conversation. And if she is not saying good morning, what to do? If I would start it, and you can please try this, if you have a intertype relationship, try and see whenever you start a conversation, how different this is if you just wait. I mean, if you are a manifestor, please never wait. Only if you've not clear enough, then you should wait. If you feel if you have an inner urge to say good morning, do it. And lastly, the body fucks, not the mind. This is, it's, our sexuality, how we bond, how we interact is always body-based. It's not ideally. Ideally, I mean, there's a lot of tantric people, oh, you need to think about that and blah, blah, blah. That's not natural. That's forcing and coping and trying to improve something that doesn't need to be improved. It's strategic behavior. It's strategic behavior. We don't need that. We're not killer monkeys anymore. I mean, we still, but we shouldn't. So the thing is, your mind has nothing to say. Always your body. If you follow your body, you will enter the relationships correctly. If you follow your body, you will experience love and sexuality that is very different from what you think you want or need. But it will be soothing. It will be correct. It will feel good, so to say. It will give you the right experiences.